is Imelda Harsono, and I'm honored to be given the chance to speak on today's session with the topic of catch up with the business trends concerning environment and sustainability. So before we begin, I just have a short introduction for myself. So my name is Imelda Harsono, and I am a second generation entrepreneur. I've been in my family business for over 18 years, and I am a mother of two. My kids are twins, and I have a passion in female empowerment, and as well as education, and also making impactful businesses throughout the journey of entrepreneurship. So happy to share my experiences and looking forward to more conversation.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. Being a mom of twins and running a business like the one you're running is quite incredible, I must say. For all the other moms who are with us, I think they would understand this as well. So just could you help us a bit understand more what your company does?
Okay, so Samator is a leading industrial gas company. And what we do is we actually take the air from the open air and then we separate it into three different gases, which is oxygen, nitrogen, and argon. And a lot of times our oxygen, we send it to hospitals. That's why a lot of hospitals are being served by us, especially during COVID times. And we have most extensive network in Indonesia with 44 plants and 104 filling stations spread over 23 provinces in Indonesia. And yeah, and we are dealing with like massive problems on multiple fronts, right? So that's where I come in and try to find problems and solve it.
No, I mean, this is wonderful. And especially, I mean, on the topic of today, I think it's really, would love to understand how your company actually disrupts sustainability.
Okay, so the problems that we're facing is the general one will be the global warming emission, right? So even the emission from the combustion are much lower than those from coal or oil industry. And the other ones will be air pollution, land use and wildfire, water use and pollution. So we are trying to continuously tackle those issues and implement several Industry 4.0 strategies, becoming a pioneer to transform our business processes to be more sustainable and by adopting various technologies to enhance automation. And over the years, I've also made efforts to improve energy efficiency and of many business processes and reduce emissions from nationwide operation by adopting renewable energy from solar panels. So it has not been an easy journey, but I think it's been wonderful to see real impacts that we created and actually make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, coming from such a traditional business, right, to actually going towards a more clean energies is definitely a learning curve. I can only imagine. But I guess you may have learned a lot through that journey, and I would love to hear from you. What do you see as what is trending actually in terms of sustainability in business? If there's something you'd like to share that you actually experienced or seen.
Yeah. So this trend actually occurs because of global warming issue, right? So global warming is not something new. It has been discussed for many, many years, but actually, as business people, most of us, we don't really realize how severe the impact of fossil fuels and industry really is. So for example, like we're talking about data, in 2019, which is only 2 years ago, the fossil fuel and industrial emissions reached its highest level, which is like 36.4 billion metric tons. So why do then people, like specifically business players, need to pay attention to this issue? It's because it has negative impacts for us and the businesses. Climate change will damage economies, devastate population, increase resource scarcity, and dramatically impact the cost of doing business, right? So Then because of that, we have like kind of like a new trend, which is green customers, like customers who are aware of their obligation to protect the environment by choosing eco-friendly goods and services, like Starbucks not giving you any plastic straw anymore, or like in supermarkets we don't use plastic anymore, we use like green paper bag, right? And then this trend will actually give challenge for industry players to adjust their business operations and products to be more eco-friendly. And the second one is probably the net zero emissions, because there's a lot of countries who wants to implement it by 2050, and some efforts have been designed and taken to realize the target. For example, if we refer to World Economic Forum, there are 4 initiatives, right? The first one is systemic energy efficiency, and then the second is the use of renewable energy. The third is the use of hydrogen in hard to abate sectors, and the fourth is carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So companies like mine, or any other companies, need to be ready at net zero carbon future by incorporating at the very least 4 initiatives mentioned earlier in their daily operations by 2050. And the last thing will be digitalization, and I think every one of us has experienced that in the past 1.5 years, right? Because the technology disruption are much faster than we can even imagine, and there's a lot of uncertainties, global uncertainty, right? So digital trends continue to thrive, Zoom, for example, and other things. And then there have been 5 major disruptions, including like cell phones, internet, social media, and adoption rate for technology has been rising to 90% by 2019. So I think those are like the trends that I've been experienced and I wanted to share.
Absolutely. So actually, we're just curious, what is the goal for your company to reach, in 2050? Like, what have you set as a goal for your company?
Okay, so we have like a few transformation strategies, right? So for one of them is something about net zero emission, which is we use renewable energy. So back like 6 years ago, no, not even like 5.5 years ago, I founded this company called Samudera Biru, which is a renewable energy company, with the vision to solar energy adoption all throughout Indonesia. And we use it in our company as well, and we use it to install in other people's company. So in 2016, we actually installed the largest solar panel installation, like rooftop wise, in our own factory, and I think that's close to 1 megawatt. And we save a lot of like carbon emission, even more than we expected. And we want to actually like urge other people or other companies to have the same thing, so that they can have more sustainable and environmentally friendly and net zero emission for their company as well.
This is great. By the way, everyone, if you have a question, don't hesitate to use the raise hand button. I'm more than happy to let you ask your question directly to Imelda. If not, and if you're shy, don't hesitate to use the chat as well. I can ask the question for you, but we'll save some time at the end of this conversation as well to have more questions. I think, Imelda, you mentioned, obviously a great transformation that is your business is going through, and it's really amazing. But wondering where a company or an individual can start. Let's say if you're in another traditional business, how can you start becoming more, transforming more your business to become more sustainable?
Yeah, I think the first thing is. This is quite harsh, but I believe in this term called adapt or die, right? So if you know this term and you really believe in it, then you start to see and identify problems that is happening in surrounding us, like in the company, or even like when you wake up in the morning, let's say, right? And then when you identify the problem and then you actually want to do something about it, want to change something about it, even a single person can make a difference. So first and foremost, I believe that you should like believe in yourself, right? So like if sometimes, you know, people say that, oh, one person won't matter. But if you see a documentary like, you know, Seaspiracy, you know, like sea and conspiracy, then you know that even an individual like us can make a difference, because the main enemy of change is actually ignorance, right? Ignorance and the lack of education. So if we continue to educate ourselves what's going on with the global trends and the trend that is going on around us, then we are more sensitive to like changes, and we really want to take a step and start from ourselves first before we actually say to the world. And then secondly, you need to surround yourself with like people that believe in you, you know, like don't go with the naysayers and say like, oh, you know, like one person won't make a difference, but surround yourself with people that believe in you. And I really believe that we are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with like, you know, smart and challenging, the one who wants to challenge the status quo all the time, those 5 people, they are going to determine your life. And the last but not least is actually the importance of perseverance, right? So work hard, go the extra mile, and make sure that you kind of like learn something new every day. And even if you fail, it doesn't mean that you're going to be failing forever. You know, it's a setback that makes you even stronger in the future. And like as Confucius said before, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step. So if you don't like make a step or commit to changing, then it will never happen.
Absolutely agree. It's the small steps that will lead to the bigger change, right? And so I'm quite curious to learn more about the changes actually you see in your country, especially around sustainability. Like, do you actually see the trend happening, and what kind of companies actually are leading it? I'm guessing yours obviously is one of them. But if you could share with us a bit more about how sustainability is seen in Indonesia.
Yeah, I actually see some of the changes, even though I'm not really happy. Like I don't see it as enough changes. I want to see more changes, because I think we should start with education first, right? If you educate people how to be susceptible to changes or sustainability, then they can see it as important. And then Indonesia's leading businesses see huge opportunity in catering to 3 shifting business trends, as I mentioned before. And they have been working to promote sustainable growth that balance economic priorities with social and environmental concerns. So I think, you know, the issue is to balance those 3 things, right? Economy, social, and environmental, because sometimes it's not aligned. And, you know, for example, like the green consumers and zero emission. Coca-Cola is like one of the companies that actually want to make a difference, because they have this green suppliers award. So if you're having like, you know, negative or even zero emission from your company, then they will give you an award for that. And then they actually manage to adopt a lot of renewable energy in their Coca-Cola plant as well, because they believe that even though it's like kind of like a big cost upfront, but they will re-up the benefits, the business benefits in the future. And like let's say like Indonesia is like heavily dependent of oil consumption, and also mainly uses coal for producing electricity. And the other time when I was talking in the Economist Indonesia Summit, I had the chance to talk to the PLN person, which is like an electricity owning company, but it's like government owned. And they're also trying to tell us that they are committed into renewable energy target, which is in 30, but they are struggling to actually make it happen because they have to balance whatever the fossil fuel electricity and the renewable energy electricity. So, having said that, I think the most important thing is to educate and to actually give time for them to come up with strategies or come up with real action to make it happen.
Absolutely, yes. It is necessary, and we really, obviously everyone wants to see the change happening faster than it is actually, right?
Yes.
I would love to hear more about the participants of today and why they wanted to join this workshop specifically. For example, Antoinette, would you like to share with us quickly what you do, and why you have an interest particularly in sustainability? Is it something maybe you're doing for your business? Would love to hear from you.
Hey, so it's been a really interesting conversation so far. Thank you so much for your sharing. I'm also second generation family business in real estate, and we help leading hotel companies build out across Southeast Asia and mainland China. I also do a lot of work with sustainable and social impact enterprises, and I'm just in the process of joining a sustainable tech company as their CEO. So sustainability is kind of like, and I guess it's a passion of mine. I agree massively with the educational side of stuff that you've been talking about, and I guess the importance, I think, of having a really positive narrative to do that through. I've watched a few documentaries like the ones aforementioned, and I find that, I think, like anything else, I guess you're a mother, so you know, but with kids, you don't like shout at them, you don't like tell them something in a very negative way to get them to do something. So what makes society think that having a negative narrative will actually promote more inclusion? Because I think some of us are naturally, we feel that obligation, like you said, but for those kind of, we need to kind of mobilize to actually help us through this process, and I guess join the narrative. We need to be a bit more like positive in sharing that education, helping people see the reasons why it will come back to their own personal lives. So I guess I really appreciate that, like, well, you're also a second generation family business. And so that was really interesting for me to see kind of what can family businesses do, I guess, from our side, what can we do to kind of help mobilize that impact and actually get people more involved? Because I think when you are in that kind of position of decision making and you have a voice that people do respect, I think it's important to use it in a way that's meaningful. So I guess that was really my reasoning for joining today. And also I just wanted to check out the Female Entrepreneurs Network in general. So this is my first joining of a Zoom session. So thank you for having me. And yeah, great,
Thanks.
Really great to be here.
Thanks, Antoinette. It's great. It's great to listen more as well to your own story and what motivates you to share today. Imelda, you want to reply something to Antoinette, what she just shared?
Yeah, I completely agree with Antoinette, and thank you for sharing what the concern is about sustainability education. And I think you're right. I mean, like trying to scare them, it's not working, right? And I think like how you do things is probably like if you want to educate like future generation, then we can actually do it ourselves and then tell them why we're doing such thing, right? For example, like I came from a like Chinese family, so we eat like shark fin before, right? When I was growing up, they always say like shark fin is good and it's expensive. It's a sign of luxury. And then when I was like, maybe 15 or something, I said like, no more. I don't want to eat shark fin anymore because I've been watching documentaries and I really believe that in order for us to preserve like sharks for our future generation to see, we should not eat like, shark fins, right? And they asked me the questions, my parents, why do you stop eating shark fin? It's good, it's nutritious, whatever they say, right? And then it's luxurious, it shows like your wealth. And I say, yeah, no, because I believe that like if I don't need it to survive, right? So I believe that if I keep doing this, I will destroy the ecosystem in the ocean, and then in the future my children will not be able to see sharks anymore. And what do I say? Like, oh, they're like dinosaurs, they're like extinct, right? And I was like 16, and I never thought that I will have like kids, or I already thought about having kids now, and I didn't. But I just think that, the first step, whatever you do, it has to be something that you truly believes in. If not, then, you can't really fight for it. So I guess that's like how you educate, like, I mean, how I educate um, people that is like older than me, or people that is like younger than me. I do it myself first, and then I will tell them the real reason why I do stuff, not because of trends or because everybody's doing it, but because I truly believe in it.
Absolutely agree, and you kind of have to pick your battles, right? It's
Yeah.
I think the battle that your company is taking on is brilliant, obviously, because we know that solar energy could really have a huge impact, right, environmentally. And but I mean, if we could maybe end the conversation today with what could an individual take as a first step, to make change? I think it's a question a lot of people are wondering, right? Of course, probably consumption is one, but is there something else, according to you, on top of, you see, education and sort of learning? Like, what would be the next, something you would advise me to do tomorrow to start making a change?
Okay. So I want to quote like Mahatma Gandhi, whatever Mahatma Gandhi said, which is be the change that you wish to see in this world, right? So if you wake up in the morning and say like, okay, I want to, because I really like something, like for example, I really like the trees, for example, the greeneries, then probably you have to do something that is protecting the environment in terms of the trees, right? For me, it's like, I feel like, solar power, it's abundance in resources. So I feel like even when I first started, it was quite expensive to install solar, but I think it's worth it because I believe that it can make a difference. And I was quite hard-headed about it, and I was quite passionate about it. So I make it happen. So I feel like, when you wake up, you must have like some problems, right? Like, okay, maybe there's these small problems that I can solve, then do it first. And maybe there's another problem that I can solve, then do it again. And by identifying problems and seeing problems and wanting to solve the problems and having passion to solve the problems, I think those are like the game changer.
Yeah, and it's also the characteristic of many entrepreneurs, which I think is this is also why this community, actually, I see a lot of our members being in sustainability, and especially I really believe that women do start businesses nowadays that are really thinking about the impact they have, socially, environmentally, and it's really it gives you a lot of hope for the future, that seeing entrepreneurs are leading the different innovations that the world needs to be more sustainable. So that's wonderful. So thanks so much for sharing your experience with us, Imelda. I would love to, if there's any questions from the audience, don't hesitate to raise your hand or jump in. We'd love to hear from you. If not, Imelda, it was really great to meet you and to learn more about what you do. Keep doing great things for the environment, for the planet. And we hope to see you soon again on our channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunities, and thank you for the questions, and really nice to meet you, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much, everyone.